Welcome back to 5 Acres Honey Farm. I'm Tara Lynn. This is more of a national parks exploring video. However, whenever I am kind of exploring different places, I am looking for honey from that area. So I did find honey from the areas that we visited. And if you have seen in my earlier video from this year during our Alaska trip, my husband and I are focusing on trying to visit 50 national parks before we're 50. So we need to pretty much get to 2 to 3 parks every year in order to make that goal at this point. Our visit to Mammoth Cave National Park was my 20th national park and the 19th for my husband. I have been to 2 national parks that he has not been to, and he has been to one that I haven't been to that I actually don't want to go to. I'm not a big fan of deserts. This particular trip was both for our anniversary, but also last summer we were supposed to take a 2.5-week trip and visit 6 national parks. And this was one of the parks we were supposed to visit on that trip. And we ended that trip early due to a family death. This was kind of like a mini trip of what would have been a larger trip. And one thing that I totally forgot that I want to mention about Mammoth Cave National Park: if you are visiting this park and you or someone you are traveling with is a car enthusiast, the National Corvette Museum is not very far from Mammoth Cave National Park, which I knew last summer when I planned the huge trip, which got canceled. And I totally forgot about that until we were driving down the highway and I saw it. So we have 2 national parks planned for next year, and both of those we are driving to, and I'm pretty much definitely going to add the National Corvette Museum as a stop on next year's trip for my husband, the big car enthusiast. We just got to the cabin. We parked over there. It's a pretty simple walkway, and all the cabins are lined up in one area. Very Spartan and a simple. Sleepy bear. The bathroom is not as old as the whole place, but like this is it. Like that's pretty much the tour. There are a few modern updates like the refillable shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, and you know, tiling and all that. Pretty comfortable. This is pretty much the view from the cabin. So like off to the left there is where the lodge is being renovated. But these wild turkey, it's kind of nice because I'm so used to watching the chickens free ranging every day. And this is like being on vacation is watching the wild turkey free range every day. They're pretty immune to all the folks around. We're stopping in the museum at the visitor center before we go on the tour, and I thought this was hysterical. I'm not sure if this was totally intentional for the whole exhibit or if it's just really true. Right, the Domes and Dripstones tour, you take a little 5-minute bus ride to what's called the new entrance to Mammoth Cave, and that's where we're walking down to. Not sure how well this is going to come out on video. There's some lighting, but there's lots of tight turns and lots of drops. There's some larger open spaces like this, and you can really see how the underground movement of water has shaped this over time. Back to the sunshine. We finished the Domes and Dripstones tour, and then we hiked to the historic entrance and down to the Green River, just exploring. That's the steeper one. We are at Farmwald's, which is a Dutch bakery gift shop. And not only did I find the donuts, but I've hit the jackpot with regional honey and different varieties of honey. So I'll be bringing some home for the honey bar. And spun honey is something I don't make, so that's cool to get. This is one of the chocolate glazed at Farmwald's. Our welcoming committee at home. Hello. How are you? Go eat some ticks, okay? Okay. 2 things that I wanted to add about our trip to Mammoth Cave National Park. One, the park this year in 2022 is going through a fairly extensive renovation. When I described it as a renovation to my husband and then he saw the work being done, he said, "Oh, you mean they're rebuilding it?" because it is so much work that they're doing. And that means that there is no lodge to stay in within the park. There are some cabins to stay in, and we stayed in one of the historic cottages, which was great. Not a big fan of television or anything. There's no TV in there. There's no hair dryer. It's just very basic, comfortable place to stay. And then you can just walk to, all the cave tours, the visitor center, all the hiking trails. I highly recommend staying at the cottages because you can just park and you're all set for your stay if you bring some food. Because of that big renovation happening, there is only one place in the park that's offering food, but I really wouldn't even consider that as an option. It's kind of like a to-go counter, and we went there for breakfast one morning. There really wasn't many options, and they're pretty understaffed. So I recommend, with the historic cottage that we stayed in, it has a little mini fridge. You could easily, bring some cold cuts, peanut butter, bread, hard-boiled eggs, just, overnight oats and things like that. You could easily pack some meals in and not have to go anywhere. And then there were, just pretty much chain restaurants in town and some local spots too. But definitely more like not the healthiest kind of food options. We also stopped on our drive-in at a donut place in Lenoir City, Tennessee. It was called Master Donuts. I did not take any video there, but there will be a photo of the donut. Really random place. It used to be like a Chinese food restaurant, and so it still has kind of like that display and like even some of like the decorations, but instead of like Chinese takeout pickup orders, it's donuts, and they actually have a breakfast egg roll. So it's like they started using some of those ingredients for this really cool fusion of ingredients for breakfast. But that was really great too. But mainly this is about our visit to Mammoth Cave National Park, which I would definitely go to again, and we probably will stop there again next year. We did the Domes and Dripstones tour, which was fantastic. It goes through the new entrance to Mammoth Cave, which if you go on the whole tour, they explain that. And we visited the historic entrance just to see it. It's right next to the visitor center. And probably next time we'll do some tours down there. But there are over 400 miles of trails within Mammoth Cave National Park underground, but only about 14 or 15 miles or so are available for public tour. There are also plenty of hiking trails around, which were gorgeous. It just felt like a really great, easy park to get to and easy to navigate. It's definitely one that I would go back to. I wouldn't make a separate trip just to go back there, but being that we have our other plans for next summer, I would love to just stop back in there again.